We have some incredible notables before you who would like to reveal their identities to you in the form of a bio reel. So, I'm going to hand the microphone over to our first notable. Here we go.
Helping soldiers indeed was my greatest deed. They call me a bird, the kind that makes its voice heard. A rich girl, not interested in a girl, in between a rock and a hard place, hating my upper space. Sick and turkey, in a war to be exact. When I was young, I made a pact to help people as best I could. Give up, the doctor said I should. Stick your nose in the air and know who I am. Well, of course I'm me. I'm original. I am the one and only Forrest Nightingale. Thank you.
Well, past one. Boy, my childhood sure wasn't fun. Music was my passion so dear, since I was playing it every day of the year. When I found the music came from my heart, I performed for people such as Mozart. Traveling to Vienna is what I tended to do. Oh, and I met Joseph Haydn too. In 1800, I wrote my first symphony. Then I wrote my second and third, you see. On the podium I liked to be, but nature, you see, was the place for me. On May 7th, 1824, I performed my ninth symphony, and that was a score. When I died in 1827, I was still playing music, even in heaven. Pretend to conduct an orchestra, you know who I am. Thank you, I'm Ludwig and Beethoven.
When I was born, I was a small little ball. People thought I wouldn't live if they were wrong. Instead, I worked on a farm, and then I soon changed. I built a telescope and created 6 laws. I constructed a spectrum with 7 different parts. If you know who I am, raise your hand. I brought war from shore to shore. I was very brave and freed slaves. My people were free just like you and me. I only stayed because I paid. I rode on your set list, not in cars like the rest of us. If you know who I am, I'll be for your king. Thank you. I am Alexander Gray. I was born in 1901. I was the 4th son. I sat in my house and dreamed of a mouse. I made Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Someone stole Oswald and his name was Chuck. I drew everything that came to my mind and drew it on anything I could find. I died of lung cancer. Raise your hand if you know me. That's right. I'm Walt Disney. One very bright morning, I wake up to the sound of my father shouting, "Americans are around." When war came in sight, I couldn't resist anymore. Peace between us is right, no one should have swords. In 1615, my love came to life. I married someone mild, I became a mom and a wife as I had my first child. Off to England we moved, all the things they had were cool. All the roads were nicely paved, wearing a dress felt like a fool. Sick all day, we got on a boat. I died before we got all the way. The sickness that killed me is not on the note. If you know who I am, pretend you're shooting an air. Don't shoot me, I'm Pocahontas. I was born January 15th, 1929. I spoke for blacks. My most famous speech is "I have a dream." With my speeches, I got equality for blacks. I was assassinated April 4th, 1968. When I died, they made me a statue to represent all my famous speeches. Say, "I have a dream," if you know who I am.
I have a dream.
That's right, I'm Martin Luther King Jr.
Money to invention, and sometimes there's tensions. I
invented a tool called the phonograph. It recorded a voice that might even make you laugh. I helped to invent the electric chairs. They're so shocking they can raise your hairs. Feel quite bad, not so much rad. I also invented a light bulb of light. Someone asked, "Is it bright?" I replied, "Yes, quite." Look shocked if you know who I am. That's right, I'm Thomas Edison.
I was born in 1863 and I was the creator of the Model T. I invented the assembly line. It was a great success of mine. More than 15 million Model Ts were sold. It made me have a lot of gold. I married my wife in 1888. It made both of our lives great. Our son Edsel took over for me. He ran the company from 1919 to 1943. I am so proud of what I have done. I made a car for everyone. If you know who I am, pretend like you're driving a car. Thank you for letting me.
I was born in 1904. After each book, I wanted to write. All of my books had hilarious hooks. In school, I was inconsistent, but for writing, I was very persistent. Before I died in 1991, I published over 60 nifty books whose rhymes were lots of fun. If you know who I am, pretend to write a book. Thank you, Theodore Roosevelt. Better known as Dr. Seuss.
1867 was my birth year. As a self-proclaimed tomboy, I grew up with no fear. In Leadville, Colorado, I met my honey. We struck silver and we made a lot of money. After getting rich, we moved our life to Denver. I found many social clubs where I could be a member. I invited many people to my parties on many nights. I wanted people known so I could share my views on women's rights. One day on vacation, I received some terrible news. I need to get back to the U.S., so I jumped on a luxury cruise. That giant boat was doomed when it hit a piece of ice. They didn't have enough lifeboats, which wasn't very nice. The RMS Titanic suddenly sunk into the sea. Hundreds of people died, but fortunately not me. On the rescue ship, I knew survivors needed aid. I used my influence and my wealth to make sure that they were paid. After the disaster, it reinforced my point of view. Women are treated unfairly. I knew what I had to do. I ran for Congress and promoted women's rights to vote. I'll always be remembered for my bravery on that fateful boat. If you know who I am, make a wave with your hand. Thank you, I am Margaret Brown, but you also may know me as the unsinkable Molly Brown.
Born in 1856, I learned how to build and to fix. I moved to the USA to help the world even today. I burned Westinghouse electricity because I lived in New York City. Cockfights if you know who I am. Thank you very much.
In 1955, my amazing life started. My mother was very kind-hearted. In 1967, I went to private school. That's when I started thinking computers were cool. In 1994, Melinda married me. We made a foundation and gave charity. I still live to this day. I created Windows, which is used in many ways. Pretend to type on a computer if you know who I am. Thank you. I'm William H. Gates III, also known as Bill Gates.
I love to run, I love to jump, and most of all, I love to hit tennis balls. When I was young, I hit a ball so hard the ball threw it fence. My dad had to replace it with a friend. I slept in my tennis sweater and I whipped my wood racket, dreaming of winning Wimbledon. I think that men and women should be equal. One of my greatest victories was when I won the Battle of the Sexes.
just like you. Skip a few years, now I'm 7. The next age stop is 11. Let's skip some more to 34. MLK asked me to stand. Then later they shot that man. Because I stood up for my rights, we are not afraid to fight. In 2005 I died. I lived a long life. Goodbye. Pretend to sit on a bus if you know who I am. That's right. I'm Rosa Parks. On 11/70, I was born. 5 years later, my math power forms. On 11/78, my teacher made me feel torn. So my father sent me to Bujia so no one could call me a blockhead. I sat in my chair researching every single day and not even half a second of play. No sooner or later did my persistence pay off, just like 1, 2, 3. If you know who I am, say math rocks.
Math rocks!
Thank you. I'm Leonardo Fibonacci.
I was born in 1885 in Copenhagen, Denmark. Physics was my lifelong passion. I opened the Institute of Theoretical Physics in 1921, a year before I won the Nobel Prize. I invented quantum theory, the atomic model too. If you know who I am, clap once. Thank you. I am Niels Bohr. I was born in 1343, and everyone would bow to me. At a young age, I took the throne, but died very easily when I broke my bone. When 300 years passed by, a man took my discovery into the sky. His name's Howard Carter, and when he found me, we jumped for joy and smiled. If you know who I am, cross your arms like a mummy. Thank you. I am Tutankhamun, also known as King Tut.
When I was born, I was excited what my life awaited me. When I was 8, my heart was torn. My mother died from milk sickness. I thought that moment would be endless. I'm the one who fought Civil War. I didn't want people to be slaves anymore. There's this man named Mr. Booth. He's the one who killed me, and that's the truth. If you know who I am, pretend that you're doing a speech. I'm Abraham Lincoln.
I became an orphan at the age of 10. I was very sad about my father dying then. I soon enrolled at Allenswood and helped draw me out of my shell. My aunt brought me home, and oh, the difference she could tell. I then met FDR and met him after that. We both had a love for politics. It was woven into us like a map. Franklin became president, and me the first lady. I traveled all over the USA. I wasn't a person that was shaded. I died November 2nd, 1962. I know who I am, and you can too. Make an ER in the air if you already know who I am. You guessed it, I'm Eleanor Roosevelt.
When I was young, I was class clown, but my mom thought that was dirty. Then I made my first million before I turned 30. When I discovered computers, it was just like I dreamed. Paul Allen and I would conquer the world, it seemed. Personal computers were the future, and we made the software. Then most people thought Microsoft was being a monopoly, but I made it fair. Then I set up a foundation to show that I care. If you know who I am, pretend like you're typing on a computer. Thank you. I am Bill Gates.
Notables, another round. Now we come to another favorite part of the evening, and that is the time when we take pictures of you. And we need to get you situated row can be any height. You'll kind of stand like this so you don't block the people in the back. And the front row gets to kneel or sit. Okay? And let's see how tight together we can get in the middle of the stage